Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on Lockdown Wednesday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go to Perth in particular, or more to be exact, down to Mandurah in particular. Of course, speak with the defending, of course, WAFLW champions. Of course, they went from wooden spoon to premiers in one season. Of course, that was the Peel Thunder. Of course, we had her co-captain, Abby, of course, yesterday. Today, we've got the other co-captain of the team, of course, her name's Krystal. She joins us right now. Thanks, Krystal, for joining us.
Hey, Will. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Tell us a bit about the grand final and how surreal was it to be in that grand final there at Joondalup?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing, I think. I was in shock basically the whole time. Even my pre-game, I was still feeling really surreal, and yeah, it was a pretty crazy experience for me. I'd never played in a grand final before, so I was trying to hone in on the nerves, and then on top of that, make sure the girls were focused, and so yeah, it was pretty surreal.
What did your coach, or end up being the coach of the year, Stephen, say to the team before the team went out?
He basically just said what he'd been saying all year: just play our footy. We'll lock it in. Use the wind when we can to our advantage, and basically just play our footy. And we're going to try and shut their game down as best we can.
Now, it was a pretty tough road to the grand final, or ultimately now to the premiership. I guess, how difficult was it back in March when, you know, you were just about to get the season underway before COVID hit? And were you optimistic at all that you were going to get a season at all?
Yeah, it was really hard actually, because obviously coming off the back of last season, we'd had a pretty tough year, and we were in pretty good sorts at the start of the year. I know me personally, it was probably the fittest I'd been in the last 5 years coming into this season. I was like smashing the gym, and I was ready to go. And the girls were up and about, hungry to get some respect back. And then COVID hit, and first we couldn't train at all, really. You could train by yourself, and that was quite hard. And then it moved to pods, and geez, for a while I thought, yeah, I didn't have hopes for a season, and slowly but surely as the weeks rolled by, that we could do the skills training, no balls obviously, so we had to make adapts for that. And then once a few more restrictions went back, we could kind of expand the groups, and yeah, we kind of just had to roll with the punches. It was pretty hard at the start, but I think we adapted really well, and the girls bounced back, and they kind of managed it pretty well.
Now, speaking to Abby yesterday, she mentioned that when the club president turned up to your rooms before the season, that I guess she was concerned that the season weren't going to go ahead, but I guess the first announcement was that there was going to be no reserves team. It was just going to be the senior team. I guess, what was your reactions to that?
Yeah, that was pretty tough to hear, especially after last season. I kind of, it was pretty hard straight up, but in the end, it probably ended up being not too bad in the long run. I went to a lot of local games of footy this year because a lot of our girls that used to play reserves filtered out the local team, so it kind of it's probably boosted our local footy in a way. So I think it's been pretty good. It's obviously now we've got to go forward and be able to close that link between local clubs and our club to bring girls in and out smoothly. But I think in time we'll be able to manage that quite well.
The season, a rocky ride, as I said. Going into the last round was even just a struggle, because I guess you had to win the final game on a Saturday against Claremont, who was already entrenched in the finals, entrenched in the top four, but you end up beating them on the Saturday. You knocked them out of the finals, and obviously you had to wait on East Freo and Swans to play on the Sunday to even get a chance to play in the top two. Tell us a bit about that weekend.
Yeah, the hard road's the best road, I reckon. So we beat Claremont, which is a really tough game, and the girls were kind of buzzing off of that. They thought, we've got good momentum here. But yeah, obviously we knew it would come down to Swans and East, and we're lucky enough we have one of the assistant coaches. He's an accountant, and he's a very smart man with numbers, and he'd worked out the exact percentage and the amount of points that we needed East to win by. And I think it was something like we needed East to beat them 1 to 4 points. Any more than 4 points would have bumped their percentage over us, and we wouldn't have finished second. So I was watching a local game of footy, so I couldn't get up to the game, but I was nervous.
When did you know that you've got top 2 and played Super Yako?
Straight away, basically. We've got obviously got a football group chat, and as soon as we had a few girls and coaches that were watching that game, so they were keeping the group chat updated. So I knew I was half watching that, half watching the local game. So I pretty much knew straight away.
The finals, incredible final series. I think every game came down to pretty much the last quarter in all your games that you've played, including the grand final. But I mentioned to Ebony and Abby when I both had them on the show that I thought the best game that I've seen in the WAFLW this season, but not just this season, I think the past 2 or 3 seasons that I've watched WAFLW was the prelim final against East Fremantle at home in Mandurah. It obviously came down to the last quarter. I guess the question I want to ask you is, was that the best game that you've been involved in? Because I just felt that was probably the best game of the whole final series, and I just felt that whoever won that game was going to end up winning the whole thing.
A few people actually said whoever wins that game, whether it be East or us, they're in good position to win the flag. And I don't know if that's a thing that goes across footy where you have the break and you don't have the momentum and you come off of a win in a prelim and it drives you forward. I don't know what the magic is behind it, but it was kind of thought that whoever wins that has a real good chance to win the flag. That probably was one of the best games that we played. I think the first time we beat East a little bit earlier on in the season, I think that was a real pinnacle for us as a footy club because obviously they're a really strong team and they've been so strong for so many years, reigning premiers as well. So I think the first time we beat them was the moment in the year that we really thought, we've earned respect back. We're not coming for redemption anymore. We probably go all the way. And but yeah, that prelim final, it was a clutch. It was so close all the way, and it wasn't until the last quarter Ella Roberts really probably blew it open for us a bit there, and I felt a bit more comfortable. I wasn't sweating as much. The last 5 minutes, she calmed the nerves a bit there.
Now, great segue to my next question, which I've already asked both your teammates this same question about the player you just mentioned, of course, Ella Roberts. Now, incredibly, she's 15, 16 years old and having clutch performances in both the grand final and the prelim final. I have to ask, is she almost now the toast of the town down in the southwest of WA now with her performances?
Oh, absolutely. For a 15-year-old to come out and not only have the ability to do the things that she did, but the confidence as well. Like she's a hero of mine, absolutely. And I'm 31 and she's 15, and I can't wait to see what she can bring next year. This is her first season. She's only going to get better and better, and I'm happy at the moment that she's only 15 because it means we get to keep her a little longer before the AFL clubs start trying to eye her off. So we get to spend a couple more seasons with her, and she's going to be awesome to watch in the future.
Great segue to my next one, AFLW. Obviously, they had their draft last night, and obviously I think 1 or 2 have actually got chosen, including Sarah, who got drafted to Fremantle. I guess tell us a bit about Sarah in particular, and I guess how special was it to hear that one of your premiership teammates have gone over to Fremantle and playing AFLW in a team that went for the whole last season undefeated?
Yeah, that was a really great moment, especially getting drafted to Fremantle because they are such a strong team already. So I think, yeah, it's a credit to how she plays her football to go for a club like that. But her nickname on the footy field is Silky because she's got pretty silky skills. So she's just such a reliable player. She's a pretty quiet person. She's so reliable, and the things she does on the field, you know, she takes those contested marks, she switches it, and yeah, it's always so clean, so silky. So I'm going to be really excited to watch her season next year.
Tell us a bit about your coach of the year in the competition, Stephen Markham.
Yeah, Steve, he's a great bloke. Obviously had a lot of success throughout the youth girls, a few premierships under his belt. I was really happy when he got appointed because I knew that he obviously had the rapport with the younger girls already, and he had a good relationship with a few of the senior girls, and then the new girls came along. He made a big effort to have a good relationship with them. And I think, obviously being a successful coach, you've got to know your footy, but half the battle, especially with girls footy, is you need to build those strong relationships, and you've got to have the girls trust you. And that's such a big thing in football. And Steve had that, and he was just able to, turn the season around. And we were happy with a couple of wins. Like, that was what our goal was. We were like, Steve, we just want to earn a little bit of respect back, get a couple of wins on the board. But, right from the start, he was like, once we started winning, he's like, we'd go all the way. And we probably didn't have as much self-belief as we should have early on. Probably took someone to come in and say, girls, like, you can do this, for us to start thinking, maybe we can. And he just kept pushing and pushing. And I think ultimately that's what got us over the line.
Now, you just mentioned about that and his vision for this year, which obviously came true. I need to ask you, what do you think he'll be asking the team this year? Is the thing to believe that you can win it again? Because you've already...
Yeah. Yeah, he'll be wanting to go back to back for sure. Absolutely.
Now let's talk a bit about one of your other players as well, who had a fantastic season. Obviously got your club's best and fairest, and won the grand final best on ground as well, Chloe Wrigley. Tell us a bit about her.
Yeah, Chloe Wrigley's a mega player. She's just so hard at the ball. I think a few times throughout the year, it was, she was coming off with blood noses, going straight back on. I watched a few of the highlights from the grand final as well, and it's those efforts that you sometimes probably don't see, but it's going into the contest and spoiling marks from the opposition. And she's just relentless in the midfield, and she's got a huge tank on her, so she goes and goes and goes, and it's the second, third, fourth efforts that probably make all the difference. And she gives us that. She's just such a grunty player, and I think that's something that we really need in the midfield.
Now, Krystal, let's talk a bit about your footy journey. Where did it all start, and why did you choose it?
So I started in when I was 17, schoolgirls footy, and I think that was one of the first years that schoolgirls footy, this is probably going to see my age here, but I think it was the first year that it might have started up. It was 2004 or 2005, something really crazy like that. But before that, footy, there was a WAFL league, but it was pretty small, and there wasn't too many girls playing footy back then. So I played soccer all through high school, and schoolgirls came along, and I played that, and I loved it. So I tried to find a local team, and Peel Thunder didn't exist back then. So Safety Bay Stingers was the only girls team that was close to me, and funnily enough, they had a team in the league, like the WAFL league. So I joined them and played with Chelsea Randall and a few others that went on to play AFLW. So that was really the starting of women's footy, and since then it's just come such a long way. It's really great to see how far it's come, and every year it just keeps getting bigger and better and stronger. And then once Peel got a team, I'd already moved up and was playing for East Fremantle. So I waited a couple of years, and then I needed to be closer to home. So I joined Peel 2015, and it's just the best thing I ever done. Best football club and greatest group of girls, and it's been really good to build something from the ground up.
Now, what position do you play on the field? And if you had a preferred position where you'd like to convince your coaches to put you, where would that be?
Yeah, so I spent most of my football career playing in the back line. Then the last 2 years I played a bit of mid as a defensive midfielder. And then this year, due to an injury, Steve put me in the forward pocket and just to protect my ribs a bit. And I think I snuck a couple of goals early on and I said, Steve, I'm kind of liking all this glory. Can you keep me up here? And he left me in the forward line, and it ended up being like one of my favorite positions that I've played in my whole football career. So I'll probably say I'm loving it, and hopefully I'll be able to keep my spot and fight off the 15-year-olds next year.
Now, obviously we mentioned one of your highlights, which is obviously winning a premiership. So the next question I want to ask you is, sharing that premiership with your co-captain in Abby Barden, which we had on the show yesterday. Tell us, how special was that, and the sound of, knowing that you were the very first WAFLW Premiership co-captains at Peel?
Yeah, it was so amazing to share with Abby. I think this is my 3rd year of being captain, and the first year we've done co-captains, and it was really hard to captain last year. We just had a really tough year, and I had to go away for a little bit of it, so it was hard to manage from Melbourne, and it was a bit of a gut-wrenching year, to be completely honest with you. And it's losing games. It's hard to keep the girls inspired and keep them happy. And football is not always about winning, but geez, you need to be winning, sometimes otherwise you start thinking, what are we working towards? And it was really hard to rally the girls. So this year, to do it with Abby and to get the girls from where they were, and even each other from where we were, to turn it around in a year, it's just unbelievable. And I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. Like, she's one of my favorite people. She's such a good human, and I think she's a great role model for the younger girls. And she's just been mega all year. And her in the ruck, she leads from the front with her footy, and the girls look up to her. So I was so happy to be able to share the moment with her, and I think it was really, really amazing.
Who held the Premiership Cup first?
Geez, I couldn't tell you. Probably Steve, maybe. I might have been holding the big check, I think. I wanted to get my hands on it, but yeah, it's probably Steve. And then, me and Abby got to hold it first. So yeah, it was just a surreal feeling.
Now, actually, no one ever mentioned about the check. I think it was, $5,000, I'm pretty sure it was, to the club?
Yep.
I guess, what did that all mean?
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. I didn't actually, obviously, we've never won a flag before, so we weren't sure what the awards were there. So they gave me this big check looking thing, and I was like, oh, geez, this is pretty good as well. So that's really amazing, and hopefully that'll be able to go back into the club, and we'll use it for, development and training gear, and so that's really good as well.
Now, what does the sport of footy mean to you, and especially playing there at Peel?
I love Peel. I won't go anywhere else, no matter what happens. It's my club, and it will always be my club. It's got a soft spot in my heart. Playing footy for me. Obviously, my dad played footy when he was younger, and he passed away when I was 4. So I've got his footy jersey in my cupboard. So my grandma, she's a diehard Eagles fan. She's got a big blow up Nick Nat doll. So I think the footy fate was always going to find me eventually. And I was just lucky that, it started really kicking off when I was about the 17, 18 mark, that I could get into it.
Now, of course, I have to ask this question, which is, what would be your advice to our listeners and viewers down in WA that should get involved in footy, especially down there in Mandurah?
Yeah, definitely come and give it a crack. I know it can be pretty overwhelming coming to a football club for the first time. You don't know anyone, but you just got to get out of your comfort zone and give it a crack. The girls are so good at Peel, and you know they'll be good at any club you go to. So you've just got to give it a try. Footy's definitely changed my life. Without footy, I just don't know what I'd be doing. It fills up so much of your time on the weekends, and then even in the off season when you're not playing and training, you're socializing, and it's just such a big part of your life. And yeah, I couldn't imagine living my life without footy, to be honest. Definitely worth getting down.
Now let's finish off with a couple of light-hearted questions about the team. Firstly, I have to ask, I can see you got your medal hanging around your neck. Now the question I need to ask you is, how long did you wear your medal for, and did you wear it to bed?
I don't think I wore it to bed. I can't really remember, but I probably wore it for about 48 hours. I might have taken it off for the small sleep that I got there. But yeah, I was wearing it for about 2 days.
How was the celebrations like?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. So many people came back to the club, you know, friends and family. So there was young kids running around. There was, you know, old members of the club, board members. So it was just a big range of people, and the girls are buzzing. And yeah, obviously being the first premiership and creating history, it was just, yeah, it was unreal scenes.
Now, you mentioned obviously you and Abby were the first players to touch it, being the co-captains. Now, I have to ask, did you take the cup home at any stage? And I'm assuming you had a photo with it. Did you, I guess, get the chance to kiss the cup?
I didn't get to take the cup home, but I snuck a kiss in. It was pretty hard to get the cup because Kate Bartlett wouldn't let it go all night. She's it was hard. You had to pry it out of her hands at one point. She loved it, and it was just great to see. She was really lapping up that moment. But yeah, I got a couple of cheeky kisses in, and well, probably got a few too many selfies. So you wouldn't want to see my camera roll. It's probably a couple of hundred selfies that I'd probably be a bit embarrassed to let out. But yeah, I definitely got my fair share of photos with it.
Yes, I think that's mentioned about 3 times already now in this in our interviews. Yeah. Kate Bartlett holding on to the cup. Now I have to ask, who had the most embarrassing moment on the field this season, and what was it?
On the field, geez, you know, I've probably done a few silly things myself. I couldn't win a toss all year. That was pretty embarrassing. But probably, I hate to say it to her, but probably Greta. She don't know which way she's going half the time, and you know, there's a couple of games there where tell her 4 or 5 times, Greta, you know, you're going this way, and no, but she probably won't really get embarrassed by it, but it's pretty funny when she kicks the wrong way. She's a mega player though, so she makes up for it.
Yes, that got mentioned as well twice already. We got here. Who's the comedian in the team?
I wish I could say it was myself, but unfortunately it's not me. It'd have to be Whitney. She's she writes a pretty good pre-game poem, and she's really witty. So yeah, she's probably the funniest, I'd have to say.
Oh, this is going so well. 3 out of 3 so far on that question as well. Now I know there's this thing called TikTok. So the question I'm going to ask you is, who's the best singer and dancer in the team?
Oh, best singer. They're all pretty bad singers, to be honest. Best singer maybe Whitney, because she's got a big loud voice. But best dancer for me, Jade Briggs. I remember I didn't know what the WAP was. I'd never heard of it before, and I was on the massage table before a game getting a rub, and I see Jade Briggs doing the WAP in the middle of the change rooms pre-game, and I'm just like, gee whiz, what is that? So yeah, she whipped that out on grand final night too. So I'll give Jade Briggs the WAP dance the best dancer.
So I've got to follow up with this question. What's the WAP dance?
You not heard that WAP song?
Yeah, I think I do, yeah.
Yeah, you have to. I think it's a TikTok too. I'm not sure. You have to Google it, I reckon. I can't sing the lyrics for you. It's not PG rated.
Oh, right, okay. I think I know the song you're talking about.
Yeah.
As soon as you mentioned it's not PG, I'm like, yeah, I think I know exactly.
Yeah, it's a bit of a viral song, I think.
Yeah, that's
TikTok
right.
famous.
We finished on this last two, which is, do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
No, not particularly. I don't like to have a superstition because just in case I can't do it one game, I'm a bit of a wing it kind of person. I go with the flow a bit, so I just kind of wing it on game day. I'm a big believer in fate, so I just kind of let that kick in, and whatever's meant to be kind of happens. And it's worked so far for me, so I'll just keep rolling with that, I think.
The last question I'm going to ask you is, now I know that you just had your presentation night, obviously the Fenton and the Barton medals. I guess, tell us, out of the celebrations that you had, was the presentation night the better one, or was the silly Sunday or Mad Monday celebration? Which one was better?
The presentation night was a good celebration. Probably because everyone was fresh. The silly Sunday, it was pretty tough to back it up from the Saturday. So I think the presentation was good, and it was also really good to see the girls that work so hard and put so much into the footy this year, to see them get the recognition that they deserved after a really successful year. So I'll probably go with the presentation night for sure.
Well, Krystal, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us. It's been way too long since we last had you on the show. And from all of us here at Smash FM, congratulations on the victory and especially the premiership. And can't wait to hopefully get over there to WA again very soon, and hopefully get to watch the Peel Thunder in action as you go for title defence in 2021.
Cheers, Will. Thanks for having me.
No worries. And that's Krystal Carter there from the Peel Thunder, of course, WAFLW co-captain premiership team there. And, of course, make sure we get out there to Mandurah next season and see the Thunder in action, of course, there at the David Gray's Arena down at Mandurah, of course, and watch them try to defend that title in 2021. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on Lockdown Wednesday.